You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You even feel motivated for a moment. Then somehow, days pass, and the goal quietly disappears. Not because you forgot, but because something inside you pulled away. You don't feel lazy. You feel strangely disconnected, like you ghosted your own future. But here's the question most people never ask. What if this isn't a motivation problem at all? What if your brain is protecting you? It usually starts small. You open a notebook, write a goal, then close it. You save videos about discipline, download productivity apps, and make plans in your head. But when it's time to act, your body feels heavy. Your mind finds distractions. Your phone suddenly becomes interesting. Slowly, you begin to change the story you tell yourself. I'm inconsistent. I never finish things. Something is wrong with me. That story seeps into your identity. You stop trusting your own promises. You hesitate to dream bigger. You avoid conversations about your future, because every unfinished goal feels like quiet evidence that you can't rely on yourself. So you protect your self-image by pretending you didn't care that much anyway. That's the lived experience. And psychologically, it's not random. It follows a pattern where your nervous system learns that starting is safe, but continuing is dangerous. Here's something important. You are not broken. Your brain didn't decide to sabotage you for no reason. This pattern developed as an adaptation. At some point, effort became associated with emotional cost. Maybe failure, maybe criticism, maybe comparison, maybe disappointment. So your system learned that avoiding goals reduces pain. That's not weakness. That's survival learning. Your brain isn't optimized for success. It's optimized for safety. And safety always comes before ambition. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside you. Think of your brain like a smoke alarm. It doesn't care if you're cooking. If it senses heat, it screams. Goals create uncertainty. Uncertainty activates the threat system, especially if you've failed before. So when you move toward a goal, your brain predicts emotional danger. Not logically, biologically. Here's the simple model: prediction, protection, avoidance. First, your brain predicts discomfort. Then it activates protection. That protection shows up as procrastination, scrolling, or sudden tiredness. Finally, you avoid the goal. And the moment you avoid it, your nervous system feels relief. That relief is dopamine, not the dopamine of achievement, but the dopamine of escape. Your brain literally rewards you for backing away. Over time, it learns that ghosting goals feels safer than pursuing them. This becomes a habit loop. You think about your goal, feel tension, disengage, and get emotional relief. Every time this happens, the loop gets stronger. That's why forcing motivation rarely works. You're fighting a safety system, and safety systems don't respond to willpower. They respond to signals of safety. So we're not going to push harder. We're going to retrain your nervous system. First, shrink the threat. Make your goals so small they feel almost meaningless. 5 minutes, 1 paragraph, 1 email. Your brain measures danger by effort and uncertainty. Smaller actions don't trigger the threat response as strongly. You're lowering the volume on the smoke alarm. Instead of learn a new skill, you open one tutorial and watch 60 seconds. Not to progress, but to teach your brain that starting doesn't hurt. Second, separate identity from output. Stop measuring your worth by results. Track attempts instead. When identity is tied to performance, every action feels like a test. Tests activate stress circuits, and stress shuts down creativity and follow-through. Attempts feel safer than outcomes. So instead of saying, I failed, you write, today, I showed up for 3 minutes. This slowly rewires how your brain evaluates effort. Third, replace pressure with structure. Create fixed time windows instead of emotional motivation. Same place, same time, same tiny task. Decision-making uses mental energy. Structure removes choice, reducing cognitive load. Less load means less resistance. Habits bypass the threat system. So tonight, don't promise a new life. Just give your brain one small moment of safety. That's how futures quietly begin.